Welcome to Behind the Byline. I'm Sabine.
I'm Savani.
And we are the co-founders of Hidden Compass. We are here with writer Craig K. Collins, who wrote The Time of the Painters, our time travel story for winter 2023. Craig's intriguing story, set in the wilds of Mexico's Sierra de San Francisco, explores the mystery of Baja's Great Mural region, the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Craig, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're excited to talk to you about your story and your work. Your story touches on a lot of themes: groundbreaking archaeological research, the rise and fall of multiple civilizations and cultures, but it also brings us to a very remote area of Mexico. So tell us about what it was like to journey out there.
Well, in a word, it was daunting. The Sierra de San Francisco is halfway down the Baja Peninsula. It's 14 hours by car. There's empty expanses. It's a forbidding desert, rugged terrain, and you end up on a mile-high plateau where there's a rancho in the middle of nowhere with about 30 families living communally. And it's probably one of the most remote UNESCO World Heritage Sites on the planet. And then you get on a mule and you descend into a 3,000-foot deep arroyo with sheer cliff walls. And you're going down a 3-foot wide cliff-clinging trail that was probably hewn by the Jesuits 300 years ago. And there's a 100-foot drop on your side, and you're praying that your mule doesn't stumble. It's quite a ride. And Harry Crosby, he's the San Diego science teacher who I quoted extensively in my piece. He stumbled on the Great Mural region in the 70s, and he turned himself into essentially a modern-day Indiana Jones. He rode over 1,000 miles on a mule and identified over 1,600 cave painting sites. And his quote was, the Baja rock art gives up its secrets grudgingly and only to those who persevere. So if you're someone who thinks you want to come down to view the great murals, perseverance definitely needs to be your North Star.
It is an incredible place, and you do such a wonderful job of bringing us into this environment. It's really rewarding to read. I want to know what the most rewarding thing was for you about working on the piece.
The most rewarding thing was really the authenticity of the experience. This wasn't some tourist trap place like, say, Venice or Santorini that's crowded with Instagrammers or social media influencers, just jostling for a good backdrop. In fact, there isn't any cell phone reception or internet. Instead, you're spending time, several days with vaquero guides and rancho residents. And in my opinion, it's always the people that make travel special. And the rancheros here are direct descendants of the Spanish missionaries who first came to Baja in 1690. And when the Jesuits were told to leave Baja in the mid-1700s by the King of Spain, the workers in nearby Mission San Ignacio, they were blacksmiths, masons, ranchers, farmers. They stayed and settled in these mountains. And going there is like traveling back in time 300 years. Their lifestyle is largely unchanged from that of Andalusia, Spain in the 1700s. They're self-sufficient. They ride from rancho to rancho by mule. It's the only way to get around up there. They have gardens of oranges, lemons, plums, beans, and these have been genetically traced. Actually, they came originally from Andalusia, these plants that they brought with them. So they've been here for 300 years. And they take pride in being stewards of this important UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's really a rewarding experience to be there for sure.
Wonderful. It is a fascinating story. For those who are watching, go read it. Check it out if you haven't already. For those who are unfamiliar, Hidden Compass has a patronage model. And so with every story we publish, we also launch a patronage campaign that gives you a chance as the reader to support the writers and the stories that you enjoy, that move you, that fascinate you. So go check that out. We split the proceeds 50-50 with the writers on top of what we pay them. And Craig, for anyone who has already contributed to your campaign, what would you like to say?
Well, I'd like to thank them for coming along on this amazing journey with me. And I just want to let them know that I actually did risk my life in a couple spots. I recall traversing this cliff to go to La Cueva de las Flechas, and the trail suddenly just melted into the cliffside. And there was about a 15 or 20-foot section where there were only footholds and handholds. And I looked down and there was this 75-foot deep crevasse with a stream running through it that I'm climbing over. And my vaquero guide saw that I was pretty nervous at that point. And he said, no te preocupes, hay agua debajo, which means, hey, don't worry, there's water down there. And it was a little vaquero humor that got me through it. So, but it was definitely worth it. And I was glad I did it. And, I thank my readers for their support.
Well, I'm glad that you made it through, and there seems to be some sort of correlation between your death experiences and great stories.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully, it's not required.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Craig, for your work on this piece and for joining us today.
Thanks.